If you follow the channel, you've probably seen my review of Chuwi Surbook. I have here now this smaller version, so this one is 10.8 inches. It has the Surface 3 screen in it, which is a 3:2 aspect ratio screen with a resolution of 1920 by 1280. It also has 64 gigabytes of storage and sadly 4 gigabytes of RAM, so not the same 6 gigabytes we have in the Surbook. It's powered by the same CPU, the Intel Celeron N3450. It has wireless AC, USB Type-C 3.1 spec, and this one here I picked up from Chuwi's official store on AliExpress. Now, it does support an active stylus, but sadly, it's the High Pen 2, not the HI or High Pen 3, which is actually a little bit better than this one. Well, quite a lot better, because this doesn't support pressure sensitivity. The nib on it is hard plastic. It has a battery inside. It's charged by micro USB 2, but because it doesn't have any pressure sensitive levels whatsoever, it's just more of an accurate pointer, which is a real shame. The packaging hasn't changed from the other Chuwi tablets I've looked at. It's exactly the same, the plain brown box. So you'll find the accessories in the side here. We'll have our power brick here. Well, not really much of a brick. So EU cable. And then the Type-C charger. So this is quite small. It's also quite light as well. And it's rated to 12 volts, 2 amps. So it's 750 grams, which is rather heavy actually for a tablet, but that's because it's got the metal kickstand and the metal build. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't have the keyboard, but hopefully I'll have it soon within a week or two. And it comes in at 9.3 millimeters thick. So the screen on this one should look really nice. I mean, it was in the Surface 3 and it is fully laminated here. So up the top, there's a 2 megapixel camera, and we do have a pre-applied screen protector with this promotional cover over the top of it that you need to pull off, of course. So it's not actually the first Chuwi tablet to have this screen in it. We have the HI10 Plus, but this one is non-laminated, so it won't look as good because it's fully laminated now on the Surbook Mini. And like the Surbook Mini, it has the same port layout. So we have two USB 3 ports, then we have USB 3.1 Type-C, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Just like the Surbook again, we have a kickstand. Now this goes back 125 degrees. Behind it you'll find our micro SD card slot. Now note that the hinge is the same, so it's got metal in here, seems quite sturdy, and it is screwed into place there as well. The hinge and also the rear of this alloy housing. Along the bottom we have the pogo ports. These are the connectors for that attachable optional keyboard, which I hope to be showing you in my full review. So the whole rear is made out of metal, but there is one exception. This part along the top is made out of plastic, where you'll find the buttons, which look like they could just be like chrome-plated plastic buttons. And there is also another 2 megapixel camera on the rear. So the build quality overall, it feels good, it's solid, well put together. Hopefully that hinge is going to stand the test of time. One thing I did note that on the Surbook, that alloy they've used is quite easy to scratch. So I've powered it up here first in the BIOS because I wanted to check and see if we're able to increase the power limit. But as you can see here, no we can't, we're locked out. So very basic BIOS settings is all they are giving us here. So you can just disable a couple of things, change your boot order, and really that is basically about it. So it powered up quite quickly. First impressions of the screen, it looks very decent, deep blacks, and it's super bright. It's really actually quite hard to capture on camera here because anything over about 50% brightness there is completely overpowering my camera, and 100% that looks super bright. I'll measure that in my full review, and I really need to just tone it right down to about 0 or even 25% there I think is okay for me to capture here on camera. So we've got 42.4 gigabytes free. And I've had a look at the disk drive. It's a SanDisk DF4064. That's eMMC 5 spec. And we have Intel wireless dual band AC3165. So a very common chipset now. And it's normally quite good, performs well, reasonable in these devices here. And nothing else really to report back on there. The touch response, that seems good. The accuracy, So I've just put a few of my typical test images on the tablet here to have a look at the screen. So it does look really quite good. I think mostly because the fact that it's fully laminated is why the blacks are so deep and it just stands out. But it was a panel that was good enough to be in the Surface 3. So, you know, it's not too bad. It's not the highest resolution, of course, 1920 by 1280. But a very nice looking screen. Now to demonstrate this stylus just a little bit, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because it's basically just on and off when it touches the screen. All it is an accurate pointer. It does not, of course, have any pressure sensitive levels, which is such a shame. I can't believe that Chuwi's gone with this move not to include a pressure sensitive stylus support with this model. So yeah, palm rejection it does have as soon as it touches the screen, but there is no like hover function. You can't see that at all. It basically needs to touch it before then it will register and work. So once it's touching, then you can see that touch input does not work, but only then. So what this translates into that really if you use this for handwriting, it's going to be useless. And again, as mentioned before, for artists, it will also be useless. No doubt you were wondering, hey, where are the speakers on this tablet? You didn't show them. Well, they're not on the side. Nope. And then nope, not there. But it's actually housed within here. And when I mean it, because there's only one speaker on here, so it's just mono, which is very disappointing as well. But let's have a listen to it. So these are the speeds of that SanDisk eMMC 5.1 spec drive. So sequential reads of 242, then sequential writes of 104. These are very decent. The 4K speeds as well, very good for an eMMC drive. So I tested out my Type-C hub. It will power external hard drives, so do the USB 3 ports, and it will also output display up to 4K 30Hz. But just like the Surbook, I had a little bit of a problem with the plug because my Type-C hub doesn't have a super long plug here, and due to the design of the port, that you really have to push it in quite hard to get full contact with the Surbook Mini here. Yes, I have tested Linux support here, and it's not looking good. I have burnt 2 USB pen drives, one with Linux Mint, and then another with Manjaro, the latest builds, and both of them end with this right here. You can see a stuck cursor on the screen, and it just will not boot. Okay, so that's the unboxing there of Chuwi Surbook Mini, and it's a little bit mixed here, my overall first impressions, because while we have a really nice sharp screen that's bright, a good build quality, USB 3 ports, Type-C port on here, it's just quite disappointing when it comes to the fact that the stylus is very basic, so it's not even one with pressure sensitivity, which is a real shame, and they've missed an opportunity here. Okay, we also have one speaker on the left. So mono audio, not stereo, and as a result, it doesn't sound as good as other tablets. Now, normally the speakers in these tablets are quite disappointing. This one is even more disappointing because of that single speaker there. Now, I don't have the keyboard at this stage, so I can't comment on that. Hopefully, I will have that in a week or two, so then I can use that, of course, and get used to it, test out what it's like, the key travel we have, and report back on that in the full review of the Chuwi Surbook Mini. If you do want something that's got a better stylus, then you're better off with the Surbook, the larger version, which of course supports pressure. It's got up to 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity. Thank you so much for watching this unboxing and first impressions, and I do hope to catch you back in the channel with the full review of this model, hopefully in about 2 weeks' time or so.